What is up, everyone? This is the first episode of the Parks podcast. This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. Super excited to get this started. We're going to be discussing everything Parks car care related, detailing industry related, and who knows, maybe in the future we'll cover even more topics. But for our first several episodes, we're going to have Mr. Reggy Cox here as our guest. Reggy is with Labocosmetica. This is one of the brands that I'm carrying through Parks Car Care. There's actually 3 brands, but we're going to get into that later. So very excited to have Reggy on. I've got to say, in my 10 plus years of doing this as a business, but doing it longer than that, just as an enthusiast, Reggy is definitely one of the most knowledgeable people that I've had the opportunity to interact with. I mean, he is a wealth of information. So it was just a no-brainer when it came to who I wanted to have on as my first guest on the show. So thanks for joining us today, Reggy.
My God, man, it's finally that time. It's finally.
I
I'm so
know.
happy. I'm so happy we are doing this. I'm so happy we are doing this. You have
Me
to give
too,
the
man.
people. You have to give some people a little bit of context because you've been dealing. Is that a right way to say? You've been dealing with Labocosmetica and these brands for some while now. You've experienced these products. You have experienced what is behind them, technology, philosophies. You and me, we have spent so many time explaining, trying to get to common grounds to understand what is going on with this stuff. And then you came with these questions. The questions that you asked is the reason that we are here today. How is this brand being set up? Where's it coming from? Who started this? And you said, every time I told you a story or I told you some of the findings, then you said, "Oh my God, that really happened." I said, "Yeah, it really happened, man. Oh my God, Mafra's so cool," and stuff like that. So tell me, man, tell me that passion. Tell me that passion of Mafra. Tell me.
So to give some context, I mean, I've had Parks Detailing for over 10 years, my service business. Parks Car Care, the product sales business, the e-commerce business, that's been probably like 5-6 years at this point, a little over 5 years. So a little over a year ago, probably a year and a half ago, I started getting a lot of demand for Labocosmetica. I mean, Parks Car Care has always been, I have simply just added brands to my website that I wanted to use in my service business. Like if someone else wasn't selling it already, if I thought it was unique, and most importantly, if it's something that I would use on customers' cars, it would interest me to carry it. So I had already heard of Labocosmetica. It's getting a lot of popularity, but and I'm not just saying this because you're on the podcast, but I've never had a brand where so many of our customers were reaching out saying, "Please, will you just carry this?" Like, I'd get inquiries pretty often for like random brands here and there, and it's like, look, if you get a couple people that message you about one brand, you're not going to go stock the whole line just to appease one customer. That's a lot. So, but this one just kept coming up and coming up and coming up. And so finally, I reached out to David, the gentleman was handling all of North America at the time, but he's in Canada, and just said, "Hey, man, look, I'm interested. Like, I'd love to try your stuff out." And at the time, honestly, I was not really rushing into adding any more chemical lines, to be fully honest. I was like, I feel like what we've got's pretty good. I'm happy with our lineup, but I just can't ignore this, can't ignore all my customers that are wanting this. So got the products in, started trying it, and was immediately very impressed. I admit the Labocosmetica system is so different than everything else out there, very unique, that it took me a little bit to kind of understand it. Like, all the products are extremely user friendly, but when you look at other brands, companies tend to do, they'll come out with product X, and then the other 3 brands will come out with their comp directly against that. You guys have things that other people don't have. So it was kind of like, what is, obviously I know what 3pH washing is, but in the old school sense of like guys using wheel acid and APCs and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, this is just a lot to take in. It took me a little bit, probably like I'd say, a month of using it daily to kind of get my bearings and be like, okay, wow, this is actually a very different system. I see why people are wanting this because it's something unique. Like it's truly unique. So yeah, that's what started it. Ended up working with David, added the products to the website, and then flash forward a little over a year later, we're now doing the U.S. distribution for you guys, and uh, I'm super grateful for the opportunity. Obviously, it's a huge privilege to work with such a great company, and
Same here, bro. Same here.
I appreciate that.
Only love.
Yeah,
Seriously. This
I
is
mean,
so freaking exciting. I mean, there's so much to tell about the journey at the moment where we are now. They are the supplying the rest. We have many dealers now. We got lots of dealers. We had Long
mhm,
Island Detail Supplies. We got Clean Garage. We got
Audiality.
Audiality. We have Delta Pro Custom. We have
Mhm.
Supreme Shine Supply. I mean, Ryan Fine Detailing now. And people are getting these questions, and I see these questions online. I'm not the guy that comments, I rather do something like this, have a conversation, or do a live, do some Q&A with the people.
Mhm.
But comments is not my thing, but I read them a lot, and you see many questions, and I've seen the stories go, no, Mafra is something else that is not made by Labocosmetica, or it's crossed by, and the products from Maniac are basically products that didn't make it into Labocosmetica. So there's like a B rank. So I've heard
Right.
everything. So your idea and basically your passion, how you grew into this, because you convinced yourself about how great these products are. You asked me some questions about in which direction should I use them, but I try to get you an objective vision about how these products are going to perform, and then comes the curiosity. So how the hell did you make something like this? Where did it came from? And that started
Totally.
this, and that's basically why we're here. So today, ladies and
Totally. I
gentlemen,
mean, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
no. Today, ladies and gentlemen, Nick and I are going to start this series about where it came from, and we're going to kick off today with Mafra. And Nick, in which direction would you like to go? Do we need to go from 1965 to now? Do we, a little bit of context from family history, or when we dive in? Tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think something that would be really helpful for people is to understand where Labo Cosmetica comes from, what the roots are. And obviously, if you look at that, you have to go back to 1965 with Mafra. Um, I have conversations weekly with resellers and customers who just want to buy the product, that are not aware that Labo Cosmetica and Maniac and Mafra all get made in the same place. They're all from Mafra. So I think in order to understand how unique Labo is, we could start with just the history of Mafra. If you want to share a little bit about that with us.
Yeah, luckily it's been 60 years. We are going into the 61st year of the existence of Mafra. Started in 1965 with the father of Marco Mattioli, the current founder of Labo. Yeah, he's the founder of Labo Cosmetica. And it all started basically as an idea to start self-producing. And the father of Marco got his hands on a formulation, and that formulation was being mixed in the home bathtub, in the bathroom, at the same place where
Nice.
everybody was being washed. And it's funny that I believe the story of turtle wax is almost exactly, if not exactly the same. That it also started at home in the bathtub. And Mark's father, Mr. Mattioli himself, Mr. Franco Mattioli, that's where the M and F comes from. Mattioli, Franco, Gianfranco, Francesco. I always forget. Difficult to keep these names. But this man started the entire business, and it started with a small formulation, and that slowly came to the idea that it had to transfer from normal cleaning into automotive cleaning, and the cosmetics for your car was being born. And then there's a fantastic documentary. We might as well, if this is ever going online anywhere else, we might as well put it into the description or something, because that documentary about where it really came from, and then from the words of the family themselves, the mother, the brother, and the sister, and Marco himself, is a fantastic story. And that started everything. And main business became car wash, sanitizing, a hotel, restaurant, cafe, pet line, aqua line, boat line, everything the customer desired, because their biggest talent, I think, was to find the desire of the customer before the customer wanted it. So they had already something in planned that is became trending or became hot, or they played very nicely. So you could say like pre-marketing, pre-vision in about how to uh, envision what these customer needs. And that started then as like, yeah, cosmetics for your car. Then fast forward, changing everything from packaging, certifications. Somehow the idea was being born that Marco thought that there was a possibility. He was looking with a little bit of an eye to the detailing market. So a little bit of an eye. So well, what's going on there? Can we do something there and there? Is there something interesting? And he thought he saw some opportunities by introducing new or old chemicals or old technologies. I would not say old technology, but old knowledge reintroduced into something new, and then find solutions for everyday problems in the name of Labocosmetica. And since last year we added something extra to that, because it was born to satisfy the professionals' needs and to
Mhm.
emphasize the professionals' needs, make those solutions, make them accessible, user friendly. Although, of course, user friendly, if you look at how complicated these technologies are and how complicated these chemicals are, to say it's easy to use, it is something, man. It's this technology, and I'm really happy I'm working here.
Yeah, so I have a few rebuttals to that. So as far as the technology, that's a really good point, because earlier I mentioned, it took me a few weeks. I mean, this is as someone who's been using detailing products for 20 years and for 10 years as a professional, for me to take a month to kind of get acclimated to a brand is not normal. Normally it's just kind of, okay, like I said before, it's an alkaline soap. Everyone has an alkaline soap, whatever, but when you really start peeling back the layers and looking into it, I'm like, wow, this stuff is very different. The fact that you can use an acidic pre-wash or alkaline pre-wash in the sun, Sidero iron remover in the sun, and not have problems. It's those little tiny details that really separate Labo from everybody else, and even like Fiero, the primer polish. It is different than most other primer polishes. But most people, like I was guilty of this as a detailer. You do something for so long, you kind of quickly read a label, you go, oh, primer polish. Okay, I got it. I know what this does. But really you start to learn more about it and you're like, oh wow, this is actually the technology of this is quite different, and I can use it differently than I would some of these other primer polishes that all kind of work similarly. I feel like that's a constant theme with Labo. It's like at a surface quick glance, you might think, okay, this is just another one of this type of product category. But then you start to look into it and you're like, wow, this does things that other products of that category do not do. It does work in different ways. So the question I have, so you mentioned Marco started Labocosmetica, and so he's the current owner right now, correct? And his father started. Did his father start Mafra or?
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Okay.
is. His father started Mafra. At some point, his father went more dominant into real estate together with the daughter, and the mother of Marco took over the factory and became the boss of Mafra, so to speak. Marco and
Okay.
Massimiliano, the brothers, continued into the factory, and that is how the situation is current still. Marco's father sadly passed away a couple of years ago,
Mm.
and the sister is still in real estate, and the brothers are still in the factory, and the mother is also still in the factory. Every single day, it's like yeah, you can still see, although it's the company is becoming too big, but it is still a family company, and it's the hierarchy in the family company, and things that happen like a family company still happen in those things. It's very nice
Wow.
to be a part of. It's fantastic. But
Yeah.
indeed, the Marco thought of the idea of Labo Cosmetica, and this was basically at first a prestige project, because they had so much experience in detergents already from acids, alkaline. So it's nothing new. They have been doing it for more than 60 years now,
Hmm.
already more than 60 years. And it's yeah, making an acid is one thing, and then seeing okay, why will we make an acid? So this idea why to make this acid shampoo was that Marco thought it was strange that you had a protected car and you had these specific regulations you had to follow. It could protect against anything and everything, but then the maintenance was always dying, and then you had to add something to keep it alive. And then he was thinking, yeah, but this is not the case. I know what's going on that surface, because we have cases like this. They are like more extreme, so heavy lime scaling, extreme lime scaling, from faucets and sprinkler systems and stuff like that. But those assets then need to be specified for something that he already knew was on that car, and nobody else knew this. So when they started making this shampoo, first you had to prove that you were not putting something on, because the shampoo was working, was taking off the minerals, and the beading came back. So everybody said,
Right.
you're putting something on. And then
Rejuvenating it. Yeah.
they had to convince the people that you could use this acid with such an incredible low pH, because a low pH is what it is. Even the new one, it's almost 0, yet it doesn't damage the surface. So, and we are waiting. It's now the 10th year of Labocosmetica, 2026, 10th year anniversary, I think. And 2018 is Purifica, I believe. So that's 8 years, and we are still waiting for something that can kick ass with Purifica, but it's still number one.
Oh yeah, Purifica is. I wish I could go back in time to every customer whose car was ceramic coated and have given them that from the beginning, because it's almost like essential to me. I mean, you need that to maintain. And obviously other brands have come out with acidic washes, but Purifica, I sell to a lot of mobile detailers, and the fact that you can use it in direct sunlight with no issues. I remember when you came out here to train me the first time we met, I again was kind of being a little bit arrogant, I guess, as a detailer, saying, "Oh, acid wash, like I know how this works." And then you're like foaming my at the time, brand new Ford Raptor, and it's like, It was summer. It's like 95 degrees outside. I mean, the truck is like scalding hot, and we're just sitting there talking. And I'm like, kind of looking at the truck, like, are you going to rinse this off? Like, it's going to ruin everything, all the trim. I'm like, this is an acidic wash. What are we doing here? And so right then and there, I'm like, okay, this stuff it's amazing. And with this winter weather, the winter storms we've been having here in the US, road salt just nonstop has been on my truck. And I've got a really good video. I think I may have already sent it to you, but just doing like pre-soaks and rinses with different products, just started with straight water, pressure washer, and then different chemicals. Purifica by far was the most effective at removing the road salt touchless. Like, I mean, it got so much of it off. So it's just interesting how it's so effective and strong, but also gentle. Like you can't really mess anything up with it. And I've noticed a lot of the other acidic washes out there, they'll degrade protection, like not ceramics necessarily, but like spray sealants and things like that. It kills them, as to where Purifica, it revives it. Like, it'll bring it back. So it's a really unique product. But to your point about Mafra, and Marco's father starting that, I think something that a lot of people don't understand, because I do get inquiries constantly from people wanting to stock Labocosmetica in their brick and mortar store, their online store, what have you. They're very, Labo's in the spotlight right now in the US. Like, that's the one that everyone's talking about. And then I start talking to them. I usually step it back to Maniac, and then all the way back to Mafra. People have no idea like how big Mafra is. I mean, it's enormous. If you look at the catalog, like you mentioned, like a lot of the, I don't know if industrial is the right word, probably not industrial, but like commercial cleaning type stuff, the catalog is humongous. And I mean, the pictures of y'all's facilities and stuff, it's just, I think people think of Labo as like a really small niche brand out of Italy that makes this badass range of products. I don't think people understand Mafra is humongous. Y'all are a giant.
It's now, it used to be just Mafra. Now it became Mafra Group. Mafra Group is what is it? Mafra, Labo, Maniac, and I believe the PPF. And the PPF is also separate. So you have this group, and it's been I'm trying to cheat sheet right now. The group, I'm just punching some numbers here, and then not like I'm knowing out of my head what I'm going to say, but I got a screen here. I got a
Yeah,
beamer at the wall.
go for it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. 60, 57 years since the exportations, 300 plus products developed in laboratories, 70 countries, plus 70 countries reached with exports, 27 languages translated on product labels, 27 languages translated on product labels. So for 27 different languages, we have different product labels. There's Korean, Chinese, Hindu, Hindi, Thai. I don't know how what else, depending on how big the country is. I believe in Korea, there's a product that's so successful that they already get their label on in the factory during production. So in the production, they already put the label on. And normally, when the batches are smaller and people don't order that much, they put them on by hand. So they literally by hand put the label on. But with the big countries, if you really have a big order, yeah, then you can just slap it onto the machine and they just print it onto the bottle. And then you can think about how many bottles need to be worth it because that's, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because when I placed my first order with you guys as a reseller or as the distributor, the big the container or whatever, we got the microfiber wash in, and the labels were like in Arabic, like a lot of the writing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, holy crap, like they are huge. I mean, if they're selling in this many countries, so I mean, it's just I think that's just worth mentioning because in this industry, I'm 36 now. I've been buying detailing products since I was 16, and I'd say the one of the most common themes ever is, and it's somewhat understandable why people think this way. People don't want to feel like they're getting duped or whatever. Is
Makes sense.
who's making whose product? Who actually makes their own product? It's always like,
Yeah.
oh well, this brand and this brand, they actually both come from the same factory. They're just white labeled differently, and there's those conversations are just rampant in the forums, and I think sometimes people get a little carried away with it, but at the same time, there's not a whole lot of brands that you can point to that say, they do it all themselves, like 100% through and through, from the raws down to production, everything. So, you guys are one of those. Not only are you one of them, you're one of the bigger ones, I would say, internationally. So it's pretty amazing. I mean, like I said, I think people just think of Labo as like this small kind of niche thing, which Labo
In
is
fact,
a
it actually is.
it
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 actually
is
is.
it is a niche product, but I'm like, man, you don't understand. Like the manufacturing that's behind this brand is freaking enormous. This is not just some tiny little pop up shop that started out of nowhere. So
I take great pride in the fact that they spend so much time and effort. So if you're a producer, then means you have the kitchen, you have the chef, and you have the guy that is going to buy in the ingredients. And
mhm.
if you don't have a chef, then you have to order from a chef. And if you don't have a kitchen, you have to order from another kitchen. So many restaurants use the same kitchen and the same chef, but they just ask for different recipes. While we have the opportunity to change flavors by changing the ingredients. And from ingredients, we can even go to the raw materials. And from raw materials, we can go directly to other suppliers. We used to have a guy, it's not necessary anymore, thanks to the new age, but we used to have a guy that was traveling nonstop to other countries, checking out new type of raw supplies, raw materials that can change formulations. We do the same thing now. Last year, I met a guy from a certain country. I'm not going to state who he is because it's classified. But this guy introduced himself. He had an Italian name. It was fantastic, and he had an idea, and he had a new raw material, certain particle that he invented, and he said, "I think you can do some cool stuff with this." And my God, we did. We had one product that could already be like a spray wax and a wet coat and a sealant in one, something like this. If you would get a name, give a name like this, but they take minimum 10% of profit is going back to R&D every single year, regardless of what else. They make sure that they have biodegradability, that they'll reach CLP legislation. So if you buy Mafra, you know for sure that what is on the bottle is correct. You know that the information is there, safety regulations, disposability, package security, in-house production. you name it, it's all there. It is the base and the foundation, because people think detailing is big, but if you put it next to even the perfume business already, the car perfume
Mhm.
business, then detailing is very small. And car wash is really big, but there is a higher demand. That is the Formula One is the same. Formula One is like Labocosmetica, and then you have the Maniac for the maniacs, and then you have Mafra for everything else.
Awesome, man. That's all very interesting, and that leads into the next thing I want to talk about is, so we've identified there's these three brands. Mafra is the OG, and then I think which one was made next? Was it Maniac or
Labo
Labo?
was first.
Labo and then Maniac. Okay, so
Yeah.
like I mentioned earlier, it's rare finding companies who do everything cradle to grave themselves and in and of itself. That makes you guys unique to me, and it's in itself. The size of the operation makes you guys unique, but the other factor that makes you very unique is you have these three brands, and you're open about the fact that, hey, we make all three of these. It's not like it's private labeled off to somebody else or whatever. So talk to me a little bit about like the vision, of Mafra versus Maniac versus Labo. Why do all three exist? Earlier you mentioned some people think that, if it's Maniac, it just didn't make the cut
Yeah.
for this one. So it's like, obviously there was an intentional decision to say, okay, we need three separate brands. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So first thing is first, the formulations are all unique, and that is because the man that is making it is so proud that he will not accept the fakeness of making diluted version or just change the smell or scent. That is the core value of this family, that passion and that pride that you find back into those products. Well, Mafra is already there doing anything with cleaning since 65. Then this idea came, what if we can enter that detailing market with new type of products, new type of solutions that nobody's had before, re-educate the market, innovate, lead driven by passion, leading by innovation, was the name of Labocosmetica. And that was 10 years ago. That development, and then people started asking, you get this high consumer market, not the guy that is just washing his car regularly, but he's going to the prosumer, the weekend warrior, the guy that had to have more access to higher dilutions, less cost, more performance. So Labo Cosmetica is the absolute pinnacle, the best of the best, purest ingredients, uh, dedication for everything, focus on the professional, only the professional, highly dilutable, concentrated products, and Maniac more accessible. Now I have to be honest that there is a big room of opportunity or improvement for Maniac to become more of a ready to use, put a trigger on it, blast it, use it, foam it, dwell it, rinse it, love it.
Okay. That's really helpful. I was actually going to pull up here um, the our friends in Canada. They have the Mafra website set up really well. So here you've got all three of them laid out, and I show this to a lot of resellers and a lot of customers who ask me, they come to me interested in Labo, and then I start talking to them about the other two, and they're like, oh, I need to know more, so I'll send them to this because it's like just an easy way to see all three of them at one time. Um, so you mentioned they're all unique formulas. So this is
Yes.
one thing. This is one misconception I think that
This
gets passed.
Primus
Is like,
2.0 and foam gun pre-wash, yes, they are both alkaline. So the similarities, yes, they clean really well. They smell really well. So they have a lot of similarities, but by definition and formulation, they are totally different because foam gun pre-wash will not be able to get a VDA certification.
okay,
So
so
foam gun pre-wash is definitely much, much more performance, much, much more power, and much, much more into the experience. Where Primus is 100% pure power and safety balance to the maximum level of safety. There is no safer one in that alkaline range on the internet.
okay, so that's interesting because so with that information, you're saying that like foam gun pre-wash, if you're dealing with just a absolutely filthy, destroyed vehicle, would this be the stronger solution than Primus?
Yeah, yeah. I think that
Okay.
it can. I think that it will be stronger than Primus.
Okay.
Where foam gun pre-wash is 100% focused on cleaning, but still thinking about saving your protection, so you can still use it for the protection. Where Primus is 100% pure to clean the protection, and that is the misconception about Primus. Everybody's using it now in pre-stages, other than maintenance
Yeah,
of a protection.
I see that a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's fine. It's fine. I did it all to myself. But in a business, if you're not doing a maintenance, then it's really necessary to use a specified maintenance alkaline pre-wash for cleaning. Go
I
for
wouldn't.
something.
I
And,
wouldn't personally. I
and
mean, unless you're just really, really just want that to be in the process, that just doesn't seem to make sense.
I would say it's like one bottle of Primus for something really special, like cologne, like something special, like champagne. Then you take a gallon of Maniac foam gun pre-wash, for your everyday use and most of the common cases. And when it really gets crazy and you need a keg, you buy a Doc G3 Mafra 20 kilograms or 40 pounds, and then you have you can do a couple of hundred cars, power and speed, and then the doors open. My God.
So, and this is not to, I'm not trying to paint broad strokes here, but Mafra is going to be your most powerful. Like in terms of like, if I'm going to grab an APC, obviously like HP 12 from Mafra versus Maniac APC versus Ductile. HP 12 is going to be your biggest weapon, and then Maniac's a little bit less powerful, and then Ductile is going to be, you can use it on Alcantara or you can use it on the engine bay.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can look at it like that. Yeah. If you put Pulimax versus Ductile versus APC, or clean interior purifier, then
Mm-hmm.
you will find they all have something. But it is the desire of what you want. Do you want to spend a little? Do you spend a lot? Do you want to use a little? Do you want to use a lot? Are you using it for the smell? You see, in every layer of this organization, there's an opportunity to address your flavor. So you can get something that you really, really like, or that's really, really suitable for you. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to start any ideas, but I know a lot of guys that use car wash products, VDA certified for maintenance washing, in 20 kilogram drums. So instead of buying a gallon of Primus, they just buy 20 kilograms of a special shampoo that you can use as a pre-wash to substitute for the heavy maintenance washing. And if you're talking about making money, I mean, then cost per car becomes interesting, because if you have 45 pounds, let's say I got 45 pounds of pre-wash and I need 1 ounce per car, then you can calculate how many cars you can do, and you can calculate what it costs. And then when you're in a service business and you are mobile and you have just, you hear this guy that says for the fun, I can only use an APC and be done with everything. I just changed my brush, everything, but I can do everything with an APC. That is, most of the detailer will say that's fucking crazy. Some mobile guys would say that's probably true. You could probably do something like that. Mafra actually has products that could do something like this, and then responsibly, without destroying everything, lighting on fire. They already have something like this, because that's, if you don't have that knowledge and if you don't have that experience, you are never able to create something like Labocosmetica. You need a heritage of, I don't know how many failures and tries and successes before you can say, okay, now we know a little bit what we're doing. We might as well try to see what is the best that we can do. What is the best that we can do? And then you get Labocosmetica.
So, okay. Yeah. So it's like the quality is there with all three. It's just you get more specified as you go up. It's like Labocosmetica to me is studio detailers, hardcore enthusiasts. I mean, when you say things like VDA certification and it's geared towards cars that have nano protection on them. I mean, right? That's, and now with the RTU line, with the PPF maintenance line, that's a certain profile of customer, and those products are formulated specifically to care for that type of client, as to where it would not make sense, like you said, for the detailer who's doing, I don't know, whatever, 100 pre-washes a week to use Primus 2.0, you would just be burning money up. And it's like, if the car is not coated, if it's not, it's like, why do that? So
Exactly. There's so much more money to be made by the smart uses, and that's why I think, if I look, and I don't know all the products, but I've used a lot, and when I go to the Middle East, I do a lot of Mafra stuff. So I do a lot of Mafra demos and tries and other products. I went to it was 50 plus Celsius, was scorching hot in the desert. We were in Kuwait. We were doing pre-wash with a very strong, powerful caustic shampoo. But we still managed to create a situation where you could still responsibly use the shampoo. The dwell time was not going to be very long, you can imagine. And the surface is going to dry up, but you can find a dilution to make it successful. And we made a big customer, and he started selling IBC. So 1,000 liters of one certain shampoo then becomes a very successful chemical, because the chemical is, making the chemical is one thing and using the chemical is another thing. Everybody thinks that's a great product. No, success came from the hands of the user, and therefore the success of the user is probably from the experience with the product by reading the label, the instructions to get to a successful wash. And Mafra has all these qualities and more, and that's why Labocosmetica made that jump. That is the pinnacle of chemistry, what you see right now in the industry.
Yeah, no, you guys really are. It seems like just the more I learn, it's like you're competing against yourself in a sense, as to
Don't
where
get
I
me
see.
Do not get me started, because this is what happens. So, funny
You're
story.
innovating. I mean, you're innovating, things that it's as to where other brands, they release product X, and then it's like, then you see the other, 3 or 4 brands, they boom, 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 boom. And they're all kind of like the same. It's just the same thing with different labels. You guys are doing some really unique stuff, like with the 3 pH and the 2 pH interior. And then, a lot of this, not just the VDA certifications, but the it's going to slip my mind, but the certifications for like the antiviral and bacterial for the interior. I mean,
UN 14476, UN
right.
122, all those ones for Omnia, for Derma certification, ISO certifications, TUV certifications, PFAS-free certifications, READ CLP. And that's why the boss doesn't like that when other brands do not comply with regulations and stating things on the label, because it's very important. It is very important, but they take a very big effort. We have an SDS guy in service, a label guy that checks all the labels for all the regulations, because every country has different regulations. I believe Canada is getting their own label now because they have different regulations for selling. The danger label needs to be more in vision. Don't know what the law is, but it needs to be something like this. And this is something that's going on. Introducing countries with new products is also a thing. So we send a product to a customer sends it to the government checks the product. If it's in standing order, SDS, and then they will check the packaging. If the packaging is according to the country standards, and then you're allowed to sell. But before you have the opportunity to sell, you have to invest. It could be tens, hundreds of thousands before you have the opportunity to sell. And all that with correct labeling and is very, very important, especially for us. They think this is, if nobody does this, it's going to become a shithole. It's going to become, everybody's going to put depleted uranium. They're going to put nuclear waste in these products. Nobody's going to give a shit, but somebody needs to do it. And I'm happy to see that some of the big brands and the really important ones, Sonax, Labo, Koch, a lot of brands are now also complying in this safety and regulation, so you know what you're dealing with.
No, the general public, I think, has, and by general public I mean the average detailing consumer, even a professional, I don't think they understand how much goes into that. And so I can't help, I've just learned a lot through you over the past year and a half plus now, but I can't help but raise my eyebrow a little bit, and the warning lights go off in my mind when I see a brand come out and they say, oh, this is PFAS free, or they make these certain claims on the label. You don't see it from the brands like you just mentioned. Those brands have their act together, seemingly. But some of these brands that they pop up out of nowhere, and then this claim, that claim, the other claim, and I'm like, man, knowing how much money and energy and time is spent by a brand like you guys to actually be able to legitimately put those things on a label, I can't help but question. I'm like, is it true or not? I mean, maybe it is, but it's
These days, man, we cannot trust anybody or anything. That's why we're doing this, man. We are setting the record straight about what this really is, this operation, what is going on, who are the people behind this. And there's a reason I'm sitting here with you. There's I've been waiting for that US guy. Of course, I'm happy with all the dealers that we have. That is absolutely, I met them personally. The House of Rags, Clean Garage, LID to Supply, Loyalty, Supreme Shine Supply, all of them. Delta
it's a
Pro
great
Custom.
network.
Yeah. So, but the online presence is important, and it is important to understand why this is happening. Why are we doing this? This is not a so of course it's meant to make money, but it's not meant to make money in a way that we are trying to make a balloon pop or to fill our pockets. We are here for the long run. We take tries, we take failures. Some products are extremely successful, other products are not, but still they are there because it is still a prestige project and to protect the legacy of that man that ever started this project in 1965. Because it's still a project, it's an ongoing project. Give the world the greatest chemistry there is.
Yeah, from what I've learned about Marco, I've not had the privilege yet of speaking with him directly, but it's obviously very important to him that he continues the vision that his father put in place, which I admire. I think that's awesome. He's not willing to go astray from that for various reasons, whether it be profit or whatever. He's locked into that vision, which is that makes me feel really good as somebody who's selling the product, knowing that you guys are in it for the long haul. Um, so now we've laid it out, kind of the backstory of who Mafra is. There's these three different brands. They all exist for different purposes. What I'd like to do, over several episodes, we're not going to be able to get it all done today, or we'd be here for many, many hours. But I'd like to kind of do like a little bit of a season on each brand, and how many episodes are in each season, so to speak, for every brand will be to be determined. We'll just kind of go with the flow. But I think the one that we should probably start with is Labo. That's the one that gets talked about the most in the US. It gets the most attention. I get the most questions about it. So I feel that this type of content would provide the most value. So let's start there. Let's start with Labo.
I know for sure. We will discuss the true episodes, but one episode to clarify once and for all the 3pH and the 2pH. The 3pH is going to get separation and the 2pH as well. It's going to be on this platform where we make that final statement. Who made it? Why did it came from? And what was the origins? I will get some data that we can talk about during this podcast, because this is good. This is what we call a bridge. We almost ended this episode. We give the people a little bit of what is coming, and I can tell you, I am excited because there are going to be some great stories, especially with the origin of the true 3pH, the real 3pH, the traits, rights reserved, trademark 3pH, and 2pH, all of them. My God, I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited too. Let's start with Labo. And I think the 3pH is a great place to start. But before we start that, just so people kind of know, as far as Labo, what is the vision? Like, what is Marco's vision for Labocosmetica specifically?
To continue the legacy of the father, that's one. To continue to innovate, and I think, I'm happy to say that we are not the people that if you can beat them, join them. But there were more in the range of you can beat them, lead them. And 5 years ago, 6 years ago, nobody was daring to use the word alkaline because it was dangerous. And now everybody has an alkaline shampoo. I think that is fantastic because the quality of the products went up really, really high because somebody set the bar high. Then it means that everybody else is going to follow up. So if we move in this direction, if we can keep innovating in the way that we are doing now, and I'm hoping that ready to use line, that what we now created, if we can concentrate something like this or go more concentrated, we are going to change cleaning forever. The
Wow.
whole alkaline acid stuff like that is going to become something really different. It's going to become something more. You're going to say, oh yeah, a little bit acid, a little bit alkaline, a little bit alcohol. So like something like this.
Oh wow. Wow. Well, we'll get into that. I don't want to get off topic. Okay.
Ooh, how many
The RT.
episodes?
I know the RTU stuff is really cool because it's like just like you mentioned, like the difference between Maniac and Labo. It's not just, foam gun pre-wash is not just Primus 2.0, but whatever with a different label. Varius is not just Ductile, but ready to use. It's a very, it's like, I just think that doesn't get talked about enough because most people's brains, and to be fair, that's what 99% of brands do. If they were to say, hey, here's our RTU, your brain is going to automatically go, okay, it's the same formulation and it's ready to use, but that's not the case. It is it's a different animal. So the vision obviously is very, like, passion is really the biggest thing. Like heritage and passion are probably the two things that come to my mind from everything that you're telling me, which is just awesome, man. Because I mean, you see a lot of brands, they start, it's been interesting now that I've been buying products for like 20 years now. And I think back, there are these brands that they come and they go, and it's like having that passion and that heritage of I want to continue what my father started. Like that's hardcore, man. It's like, that's lasting. That's not just a flash in the pan and hop in, make some money, get out, whatever. So I think
I need something cool. I need a mission, bro. I need a mission. Need something to fight for. Need something for. I know the next generation of Mattioli is coming. I know the sons and daughters of the other children. So probably a few of them will be found back into the factory doing something. I think one of them is already in the lab. The youngest, the Marco's son, is also in the factory, but he likes making videos a lot, so he likes the camera a lot. But it's very cool. But he's definitely going to take a position, and maybe my son can do something like what Marco and me are doing.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Dude, that's building a legacy. That's what you're talking about. It's building a legacy. Seriously, I mean,
I think my son is too dangerous to do this.
No, that's incredible, man. I mean, like, we talk here internally a lot at Parks Car Care about our vision. Like, what is the vision? It's just, I think, not to generalize or anything like that, but a lot of people, they just, money's the only thing, and I'm a believer. You can have a vision that's there for the right reasons and make a lot of money, but some people, I think the vision is just purely to make money, and then that starts to reflect over time and how they operate and how they do things, how they develop products, how they treat people, all that stuff. So I just think you guys have a really, really great leader, it sounds like, over there. So so as far as products, we'll start with Labo. We're already about an hour in. So I think the best place to start with Labo, and maybe we'll see how long it takes us on this one, the 3 pH and the 2 pH. Let's start with those two and see how long that takes us.
I think if we if I go factual, so if I take some pre-notes, so that I fly a little bit through why and when and how and when, then I think we can do it.
Okay.
I think because in theory, technology is the same. I can use some stuff. Oh, if I will send you some stuff that we can display to explain why and how. So give context with explanation. So we get like a semi micro presentation with parts of the original what's it called again? My God. Presentation, freaking presentation. The official 2 pH presentation with some visuals, where it came from. That is going to.
Do you have it? Do you have it right now on your computer? Or do you want to? Is it something you're going to send to me later?
Yeah, we will do that outside of the show when we start the episode of the 2 pH. So we have to do some preparation, especially for 3 pH. Okay. Get some data, because I want to set the record straight once and for all. Especially with heritage, where it came from, who thought of it, where the original 3 pH came from. So not for maintenance, but where the real 3 pH came from, using different pHs in a washing sequence. So that is I need some packs, and I definitely ask the boss to say, okay, do
Okay.
you like this? Do you like this? Because I'm going to use. He's able now to use me as his voice, so I'm going to take some of the information about his passion, and I'm going to use that as his voice. And because this man, I want to give him some peace of mind. I can see him eating himself up when he sits online and he hears somebody saying that who invented this, and he goes like, "I cannot believe this is happening. I did so many efforts, so many energy to create this, and then somebody says, no, I did it. My God." So I want to be
Yeah.
his voice. I want to be his voice, and especially for the opportunity of the United States market. I mean, I can empty the entire Mafra catalog in anything. I've already seen so many things. Opportunity. Oh my God! Come on, come on.
Yeah, the Mafra catalog is crazy. I'm still wrapping my head around the stuff that we have here now, but there's a lot of stuff that we don't have that we're gonna, undoubtedly end up stocking as well. But I'm having to educate myself a lot on that one. So it sounds like we can wait and hold off to go into 3pH and 2pH. You want to do that in a future episode?
Yeah,
Okay, not a problem.
definitely.
Uh, well, let's see. Trying to think because the coatings, that's going to be a whole episode in and of itself. Um,
Also, good prep with visuals. We talk about the visuals before we record that episode, definitely.
mhm.
Because I want to also this one I want to set straight, because that information should be enough for detailer to decide if it is a coating that he is going to be interested in.
Mhm.
That type of an information needs to be said. So you know what, you know me, I'm not doing the years and the bullshit and the promises and everything. I do factually correct from based experience, mileage and stuff like that, and that's what I want to represent in that video. Why we did that, why we made the coating like that, what the opportunities are, what it's really expected.
Yeah, there's a lot of education. I think that, yeah, on the coatings, there's a lot that could be really helpful for people to understand the different coatings, what each one of them does and doesn't do. That'll be a fun dive to do that one. Um, so as far as the rest of today, is there anything else? I mean, I get a lot of questions about the interior products um, from Labo. I know 2pH falls into that, but we don't have to go into 2pH in horrible detail today. But would you want to run through some of the interior stuff, like especially in light of the new RTU things that came out, like Varius and probably not? I'm probably butchering the name, but
No,
Texia.
no, it's various text. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See,
Okay, yeah. So
exactamente.
you want to kind of go through just the logic of the interior system, especially now that these RTUs are out. Like, how detailers are. Everybody wants to have a system. They want to lock in and know exactly when to use what. But obviously, now with these
Ooh,
RTUs, there's some,
how
you
would
know,
I?
it's
So
not black and white.
2pH, you go full inorganic, full organic, anything from a living, anything from a non-living substance. It is glyco and ductile. 2 steps, inclusive with the wet vac and scrubbing. Then there is Omnia. Omnia is a 1 step. It is a specified interior APC dedicated to treat anything on the inside of the car, including leather. Although leather is the only part that you have to wipe down with a wet microfiber to get rid of surfactants. Omnia gives UV protection for around 2 weeks, so it's slowly degrading. It has antibacterial and antiviral properties affiliated by the UN certifications on the bottle. Then there is the Varius and Texia. Varius, you could say, an all-round APC inside and outside, where Texia is a dedicated APC fabric cleaner for the inside. It's a fabric cleaner APC, not an all-purpose cleaner is not the right word. It cleans more than a standard all-purpose cleaner would do in a fabric, because most fabric cleaners are alkaline. Texia is not. Texia can take more than organic stuff from the seed. It can take much, much more, much crazy stuff. Varius can do the same, but Texia is specified. And this is the first, what you could say, try playing around to see if you can combine qualities that are in acidic products from qualities that are in alkaline products and qualities that are coming from the solvent-based products, and combine that in one bottle in one formulations, and therefore then can broaden that what you can clean. So you got a little bit of mud, Yeah, you scrub the mud. You take an alkaline one, might be enough. It's a little bit mud and a little bit of salt. You need both. If you need a little bit, so dirt is never one thing. It's always a combination of things.
Yep.
That's why 2pH was born, because we wanted to get rid of the most dominant dirt first, the inorganic stuff. Therefore, we need to use an acid, but one safe enough to go onto the fabric. I have dactyly glycol, 2-step inorganic organic, Omnia disinfecting, UV protection, brightening and restoration, APC interior, Texia dedicated broad spectrum cleaner for the fabrics, Varius clean anything, and especially Varius. Varius is the greatest product. We are going to get awards for greatest product of the year, greatest product of the century, greatest product of the millennia, because this is going to be really difficult to beat. What this product can do and how it's being formulated and what it is, how light it is actually, because it's not something strong alkaline or strong acidic. It is actually not those things. It's very mild. It does cleaning in a different way. It has something inside that helps the cleaning that is not responsible for alkalinity or acidity. It's something else. It's a new technology. We found something and now we have tweaked that something and putting it in something useful that is now it's first of its kind, because there is no such product as Various right now to compare it with. So we compare it against Dactylate, we compare it against Omnia, we compare it against Polymax, we compare it against everything that we can find in our own range, because that is the biggest competition that we always find, our own stuff from Mafra. D-Scale shampoo, I had to fight against Purifica and Black and Wrap shampoo from a Maniac to find out how good it really was, because I couldn't find anything other that was equally as good as those two.
Okay. So it sounds like you would go for Texia if you're just maybe doing like, I don't want to say this incorrectly. When I say smaller work, I just mean like spot when I think of, spot work. Like when I think of 2pH, it's like, I'm doing all the carpets. I'm doing everything. Like
you are going full interior.
Yeah.
Full,
and I mean, Glico, I don't know what is in it that makes the fabric so soft. It's crazy. I mean, we sold our, I had a really nice steamer that was like I forget the name of the brand, but it was like an extractor and a steamer in one. So you could do like wet extraction and steam with it. We got rid of it after you trained me on the 2pH, because it's not necessary. I mean, like at least the cars I was working on, like I felt like it cleaned the carpets better, and they weren't leaving all wet and, dealing with all that. So it's Glico is super impressive, but I'm still getting more familiarized with the RTU stuff. But so for Varius, it does not have the viral and bacterial properties that like Omnia has, though, right?
No, that has been if you say sanitizing, you have to put it to something that says that it sanitizes. Just to say it, if we say it sanitizes, but it doesn't sanitize, and you are using it to sanitize something, and you are not sanitizing something, and therefore putting the person that is not being sanitized in danger or in risk. We don't follow that route. We have the certifications. We did it in the era from a couple of years ago when there's from a couple of years ago, that thing, everybody had cold and stuff like that. And then we acted immediately by making products like this that can actually sanitize, and then have a test for it like that. There will be some sanitizing that any detergent can, that doesn't need specific sanitizing. But if you say it sanitizes, it to a certain level. And that is what these tests prove. These tests prove that you have a certain level of cleanliness that you can reach, that you are now can safely eat on this surface or operate on this surface or give birth to somebody on this surface. Something like this. It's levels of sterility or cleanliness. And all these products have the same IGEA interior quick refresher. That's the same. It is an acidic product. Can't measure the pH because there's something from the alcohol family inside. It is acidic. It has cleaning properties, and it has also sanitizing properties, but we don't know how much. So we are not saying it's sanitizing. We are saying it's cleaning and has cleaning capabilities, but not sanitizing.
Okay. Yeah. I actually reached out to one of my customers. So I just, the sanitizing aspect, I could be wrong. Maybe there's other brands that have those certifications. I don't know of any, at least in the sphere of products that I read about regularly online that I see people using and stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's some out there, but as far as like your big hitter, high end detailing products for interiors, I don't see anybody putting those on there. And so I reached out to a customer because his wife has had cancer 2 times, I think. So her immune system is like super compromised at this point. And he would always ask me, he'd be like, what can I clean her interior with? And he's been a customer for like legitimately 7+ years, And so I'd always say, I'm like, look, Mike, I can't look you in the face and tell you, I mean, that if you buy this thing that, it's going to actually do that, because my God, her immune system's compromised. Like I would need to be very high level of confidence before I tell you something like that. So I didn't even learn that about Omnia and Derma until probably 3 or 4 months after we started carrying the products. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I've never carried a product that has that. So I sent him an email. I was like, hey, check this out, read into it, see what you think. And so he loves it. He uses all the Labo stuff now on her interior. So it's pretty cool.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah. To your point, I mean, while it might seem harmless to make a claim like that, if you say you're going to sanitize something, it's you're making a pretty big claim. So
to a level they are saying, of course, yes, it sanitizes, it's cleaning something, so it's going to be less than before. So you can always say it's sanitizing to a certain level, but that's how this whole industry is being disrupted right now, is that these terms and terminology is moving all over the place. The pH scale is becoming something completely different. Causticity is now something completely different. Solids are now also something completely different. Hydrophobicity angles now became also something completely different, and it's now and it's logic, because not many college degree detailers out there, including myself, high school, that's it. So, and these people are ruling the industry, so you got a lot of misinformation, disinformation. I don't know how to say it, but it is information. It is formation. I don't know if it's in or out formation, but it's formation something. And that's why we're here. We are here. We are here for this reason. This is that, to clarify the air.
It's marketing is what that is, but not the good kind. It's
exactly
the disingenuous kind of walking that fine line of like, well, we're, I guess not saying enough to get in trouble necessarily, but it's like you're also not being totally truthful at the same time. But hey, Chat GPT, people, get on Chat GPT. You can learn some things, because I'm not a chemistry degree by any means, but it's like, man, with AI now, you can sift through who's legitimate and who's making bullshit claims and who's not, basically. So cool. So as far as interior, I mean, you pretty much covered most of it.
I would say, I think for episode number 1, we covered something of the basics. We got some heritage, history, where it's from, formulations. We will definitely have some questions coming. People will have questions, definitely, and those questions shall be answered either by myself or by Nick himself. But they will be answered, because now we are going to take this serious, because this is Project USA. This is the takeover. This is the beginning of the invasion. Now we are going to take over. This is it. This is the one.
For sure. It's this has been a really good kickoff, and I mean, I'm thinking for Labo, we're just going to break it down. We went into the interior stuff pretty well in depth today, but we'll do a whole section on 3 pH, 2 pH. I'm sure a whole episode just on coatings, decontamination, so protection. Not coatings. So
I'm going to get hardcore facts, and I'm going to make them in chewable, digestible slabs of information, powdered with a little bit of pepper of passion, to make sure that it's digestible information. Because for me, it's also difficult to get the words out, to make this this technology to understand it myself, so I can tell you how I understand it before it starts getting into one big science fiction show. And that is so we're going to write down some important facts about these products and about these technologies, and then we're going to spit them out right here on this show here at Parks Car Care.
Awesome, man. Well, I look forward to doing that for Labo, and then also really look forward to doing it for Maniac and Mafra as well, because those are the two that I keep putting it in people's ear when they reach out about Labo. And so now, I mean, earlier today, when you and I were talking earlier this morning, I'm starting to get emails. People like, hey, send me the catalog for that. What's this product? What's that product? So I think this will be really, really helpful because I'm still learning. I'm learning a lot about the Mafra line specifically. I've got my bearings much better as far as Labo Maniac, but Mafra is like it's a exciting.
We need
new
the people.
world
We
to
need the
explore.
United States people to decide what is necessary for the United States market. So we will take some ingredients, some flavors this way from the other side of the pond, and then we will try them out, and then we'll listen to what the American people have said. And if the American people say we need Dark G3, then it's going to be Dark G3. But if they want Jedi, Mangusta, AK-47, yes, we have a pre-wash called AK-47. That's true. So there is, Mafra. Oh man, it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Reggie. I really look forward to the future episodes. I think this is a great kickoff, and look forward to the questions we're going to get. And we'll be back, I'm sure, in about a week from now.
100%. Thanks, man. See you soon.
Thank you. See ya.
Out.